This week is the anniversary of the massacre at Deir Yassin. Deir Yassin was one of the great crimes of the Nakba. It was a defining crime because the Zionist militias used the terror that they had inflicted and the mass murders that had taken place to send a warning of terror across historic Palestine to tell Palestinians to leave. And from that day to this, only couple of weeks ago, the mass murder of 15 ambulance workers executed one by one and buried with bulldozers with their crushed ambulances. 77 years. This is Nakba 77. 77 years of ethnic cleansing, of war crimes, and now of genocide. And there's only one explanation for this horror. It is rooted in a project of settler colonialism and imperialism. We shouldn't forget that the militias of Deir Yassin, the Haganah, the Irgun, Svayvan Limi, were armed and trained by the British Empire to put down the great Palestinian revolt of 1936-39. Just as the US and Britain today, armed to the teeth, the Israeli state as it conducts a genocide in Gaza. They're not just complicit, they are participants. This is a genocide not only made in Israel, it's made in London, in Washington, in Bonn, and in the European capitals. It is made by Trump, by the leaders of NATO, and by our own Keir Starmer and Foreign Minister David Lammy. They have blood on their hands. And there are two camps. There is the camp of racism, war, genocide. And there is the camp of freedom. And that's the camp in which we stand. And they have lost the argument. So they vilify, they slander, and they try and repress our movement with arrests and jailings, and in the US, deportations such as that of Mahmoud Khalil and others. But we have a strength that they don't have. And there has never been a right to exist for an apartheid settler colonial state. Not French Algiers, not the British Empire, not South African apartheid, and not Israel. But I'll finish with this, because this is also a state, a settler colonial state, whose foundations rest on an imperialist order of war, racism, national oppression, and genocide. And that is an order, a world order, that must end. And the fight for a free Palestine is a fight for an end to apartheid, an end to the settler state, but it's also part for a fight for a revolutionary vision, I believe, of a different world, without war, without genocide, without racism, without imperialism, without settler colonialism. Free, free! Palestine! Free, free! Palestine! Free, free! Palestine! Free, free! Palestine! From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
It's been a bit of a tough couple of weeks for me personally, watching the news, looking at what's going on. I mean, it's nothing out of the, I was going to say ordinary, nothing out of the ordinary what Israel's been doing. It's a very weird sentence, but you know, to see it, I remember seeing bodies flying about across my TV screen, and then I seen this, the 15 aid workers that were executed and then buried by bulldozers. And then the journalist that was burnt alive. I don't remember a lot of scenes of people being burnt alive, but I've seen about 3 or 4 since October the 7th, 2023. People burnt alive in tents, sat there alive, being burnt. People can't get to them, where incendiary bombs and other very super flammable materials are being used. And then we had obviously this pack of lies that Israel then told the world about the suspicious vehicles with no lights on. And then subhanallah, a body cam was found. A body cam was found showing the events, what happened, the lights, the ambulance, the high-vis jackets, an emergency aid was then attacked, over 5 minutes of shooting, and I think it was over 500 bullets in 15 aid workers. 15 aid workers executed in cold blood and then buried in shallow graves with bulldozers. In which world is this okay? In which world do we not stand up and say that we are with this? In their world. That's true. And I was actually speaking to Rob on the phone, and I said, we have to be careful not to become desensitized to it. But it is happening. Watching the guy being burnt alive I've seen it before. It's a crazy thing that is happening when we're becoming desensitized to bodies flying around, mass killings of aid workers and human beings being burnt alive. We're becoming desensitized to it. But we shouldn't. We should not, and we should not allow it. And we should keep fighting, and we should keep protesting, and we should keep coming out, because it is not okay. It is not okay in whatever world, wherever, in any country, for these atrocities to be happening. Aid workers being executed and journalists being burnt alive. I'm not with it. Whatever race, culture, country, borders, I am not with it. And alhamdulillah, praise be to Allah, praise be to God, that the movement is strong. And today resembles that. Today resembles that. The movement is so strong that even after we had cancelled today's event, the people brought it back on. So the power is not with PSM. The power is not with PSC. The power is not with me. It's not with you. The power is with the people, guys. And it's the people, and only the people, that will change the status quo. Because we know we can't rely on our police. We know we can't rely on our government. They ain't going to do nothing, are they? So the power is with the people, guys. The people have to keep coming out. We have to keep protesting, and we have to keep freeing Palestine, because that's what you are all doing and what we're all doing. Every time we come out, every time we hold a banner, every time we march, every time we chant, we are freeing Palestine.
On behalf of all Palestinians, men, women, children, animals, trees, land, sand, churches, mosques, synagogues, I would like to thank you. I would like to thank you for your solidarity. There is nothing that I can say that hadn't been said so far. All the speakers before, they spoke brilliantly. I get frustrated all the time because I watch the news and I get angry and I get frustrated. I'm sure you have the same. And sometimes I look and say, we've been marching, we've been campaigning for 18 months now, and what did we achieve? I get desperate sometimes, I question everything, but then I go and say, maybe the minute before we give up is the key minute for the victory. And as they say in Arabic, which is like the last 1 hour of you holding up is the 1 hour that leads to the victory. And that keeps me going. And sometimes I say, did 40,000 people need to die in Gaza? But then I tell myself, they didn't die only because of the genocide. Because even if the resistance didn't do 7th of October, these people would still have been killed by Israel. Because Israel plans to kill these people. Genocide is their favorite game. Zionists, specifically, they love killing. They love genocide. And I came across some piece of statistics the other day, actually. You know, before the Holocaust, where 6 million people had been burned and killed and oppressed. Do you know that the Zionists before that, actually, during the Bolshevik, killed 20 million Christians? The committee that decided to kill these 20 million Christians had 500 people. 480 of these people were Zionists. So by design, by default, these people are genocide enablers. They love killing. So whether there was like 7th of October or not, these people were gonna be killed. But you know now they're killed with a purpose. They're in heaven. They're shuhada for us. They went, ascended. They didn't die for nothing. They died for us. So the least that we could do now is to keep coming, keep protesting, keep speaking, keep going loud until Palestine is free. Because Palestine will be free.
Palestine will be free from the river to the sea. As for the other song, that when we say that Israel is a terrorist state, I don't give it the state. It's not a state, it's a bunch of criminals. It's a bunch of criminals that are coming from all over the world, and they want to drive the Palestinians out of their land. And this is something we need not to let happen. Palestine will be free from the river to the sea. The historical Palestine, forget about all these two-state solutions. This is rubbish. This will not work. The only thing that will work is that Palestine for the Palestinians. Palestine will be for the Palestinians. And there are Palestinians who are Muslims, the Christians, the Jews. Those are the Palestinians, the original, the indigenous people. They are the Palestinians. Those criminals who are coming from all over the world, and when Trump starts talking about his rubbish Rivera or whatever he calls it, no one should believe in that. And the Palestinians don't believe in it. They believe that Palestine will be for them. Just to give you very simple, I was reading today a piece of news on Al Jazeera, and I was really surprised. There was a medic, a doctor who spent months in Gaza. He's from Turkey. And when he was about to go back, he had this idea of why not to take with him children, some children from Palestine, to look after them in Turkey. And what he tried to do, he decided, he's not married, he decided to find a widow with kids so that he can take the widow, the mother, and the kids with him to Turkey. He tried his best. No widow, no Palestinian wanted her kids to grow up out of Palestine, out of Gaza. Every Palestinian wants to stay and live in Gaza. And we have all seen this again and again. We have seen it when the ceasefire was declared, how many people have gone from the south to the north on foot, old, small, children, mothers, fathers. Everyone went back to his destroyed house because they believe that that's their house. As for those who are destroying the houses, they know that that's not their land. They know that's not their country. That's why they are bombing it. So from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Today, tomorrow, next year, but it will be free. And it's our responsibility to be here day in, day out, fighting for the Palestinians, fighting for the humanity. The Palestinian issue, by the way, is not just about Palestinians. It's about humanity. It's about human rights. It's about every one of us. either being a Palestinian or not, what's happening in Palestine should hurt every human being. And we should continue our fight for the freedom of Palestine, which is our freedom, and there is no freedom anywhere until Palestine is free. Thank you very much. Free, free Palestine.
Imagine, if you think it's hard for us, imagine what it's like for those people in Gaza, in the West Bank. Think of those people. Israel is still decimating Palestine. Israel is still killing children. Our exhaustion is real, sure, but it cannot compare to the suffering of the Palestinians, the Syrians, the Lebanese. It cannot compare to the pain that is inflicted upon these people by the Zionist entity, the fake entity known as Israel. History has shown us that change comes when people refuse to be silent. So please, I beg of you, turn up.
What a mad world we live in. We've got people that are openly saying death to refugees, and the police have done absolutely nothing about it. Is this the world that we live in 2025? That white males are allowed to shout death to refugees? I mean, what madness is that? We've been here for the past 18 months trying to spread a peaceful message, yet every single time that we gather, there's at least somebody that tries to spread a hateful message. I mean, I've not got words anymore. I've not got words to describe the rage and the anger and the sadness that I feel when I see people so full of hate that would say such disgusting things, say such disgusting things like, yeah, the children deserved it. I've heard that before. I've heard it when I was in Christchurch. I heard an old man say, yeah, all those Palestinian children deserved it. They deserved it. The children that got beheaded, the children that were burned to a crisp, they deserved it. No child deserves it, no matter what they do. A child is a child. Nobody deserves to be burnt to death. Nobody deserves to be beheaded. It's disgusting that we live in this world in 2025 where there are people that actually openly say these things and do these things. And what's worse is that they don't even get into trouble. They're allowed to do it. They get encouraged to do it by the government, by the council, the police. They just stand by, they watch them say these things, and they do absolutely nothing. Saying death to refugees should be considered a hate crime. Apparently it's not. Apparently they don't care. Apparently the government doesn't care because they encourage all these things. These people should not be allowed on the streets. People who would go and say that children deserve to be beheaded and killed shouldn't be allowed on the streets. They should be rotting in a prison cell. That's exactly where they should be. They should not be on the streets of Bournemouth. I'll end it there because I've got nothing else to say. Free, free! Palestine! Free, free! Palestine! From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
One last thing I want to say. I know it's understandable to be angry. Everybody's angry, everybody's going to be upset. But remember that peace and love will always, always, always prevail.
The UN has released a report. It's 40 pages. It's a tough read, but I encourage you all to read it. It talks about not only gender-based violence done by the IDF to the Palestinians, but it also goes into detail about the systemic dehumanization of the Palestinian people. It goes into detail of the sexual abuse, the rape that the ISF and the IDF are doing to the Palestinian people. The IDF are not an army, they're not a military, they are terrorists. They are a terror group, a genocidal terror group.
We'll speak about the history in Palestine. It was a free area. There was Christians, Jews, Muslims, atheists living together. It was at the end of the 1800s where Jews decided to get together and held a conference. A lot of Jews opposed taking over Palestine for Israel. There was huge opposition. But there was enough that they started to move in and displace the Palestinians who were there. once Balfour Declaration was made in 1917 for the British to support the Jewish cause to create a Jewish supremacist state, that's when the Palestinians realised it was an act of war, that their war had been declared on them to take over their land. They had been resisting the takeover of the land before that, but it wasn't seen as a war. That's when it became a war. That's why we as British people have a responsibility to stop our country from supporting it. They had a chance to resist the occupation before a superpower came along and supported them, so that they could dump the Jews into Israel, so they had a foothold in the Middle East to control the Middle East. That's what it's all about. It's they don't really care about supporting Jewish people. If they cared about Jewish people, they'd stand with the 2/3 who oppose the apartheid state. They oppose the genocide. That's what it was really about. We need to stop this British takeover of other people's lands for our own wealth. It's completely and utterly wrong to impoverish other people so that we can be rich. We're not even getting rich. It's the rich who are getting rich. We keep getting poorer and poorer. It's not for us, it's for the rich. We need to stand together as workers against the billionaires who are taking over the world for their own centralised wealth. Free, free!
Nick Tenkelny, who was speaking at Horseshoe Common a few minutes ago, wants to deport 10 million people from Britain. Now, I'll let you into a little secret. I suspect most of those 10 million will not look like me. This is the grossest form of racism. It is an attempt to dehumanise a whole culture, to dehumanise millions of people, and they do it on the backs of the lives of people in Palestine. We have to rebuild the movement for Palestine. We have to say that every Palestinian life is worth as much as any other life, whether it's in Ukraine, whether it's British people, whether it's Israelis or whatever. The lives of Palestinians have to be treated as equal to everybody else's, and we have to reject the racism that says they don't matter, that the Palestinians are just numbers. So we need to rebuild the movement. I mean, clearly what's happening now with Trump and Musk and people like that, clearly the attempt to clear Palestine, to clear Gaza, to allow Trump to build his hotels, this is where they want to go. Ethnic cleansing doesn't seem to be a crime anymore, unless it's somewhere that the Americans oppose it. So American support means you can commit any war crime, you can commit ethnic cleansing, you can commit genocide, and it's okay as long as the Americans support you. The fact that our government is still supporting the supply of arms to Israel is an absolute disgrace. So I say two things. Firstly, we have to rebuild the Palestine campaign. We have to rebuild that support. We can only do a certain amount. We must be an example to the rest of Europe and to the rest of the world that we stand with the Palestinians. But we also have to fight the Islamophobia, the deep-rooted racism that says that Muslims are worth less than Christians or anybody else. We have to fight against that, and we have to fight against the far right and the fascists who marched on in Bournemouth today. Sadly, there was some very good people there, but not enough of us. We need 3, 4, 5 times that number of people to stop the spread of this cancer of racism. We need to see the Palestine issue as absolutely essential in terms of pushing back racism. We have to push back on Islamophobia, we have to push back on racism, and we have to stand for Palestine.
I thought I'd read out a poem that's called Jesus Was Palestinians, considering Taccone thought it was great to come down with a cross, and we told him that Jesus was Palestinian and he said that he was Jewish, and I don't think he quite could put the two together, that he can be Palestinian and Jewish, so just a bit of a reminder for him, really. So in ancient lands of olive trees and sand, a humble man from Bethlehem did stand. Born under Palestine's bright starry night, a light of hope, a beacon shining bright. Jesus walked the streets with love in his heart, teaching forgiveness, unity to impart. Yet in his festive time, his land forgotten, while his message of peace remains unbegotten. Through wars and bitter strife, his homeland cries for harmony, for life. Let's remember the one who knew no greed and honour his sacred land in our every deed. So gather round, let's sing and pray for peace in Palestine on this holy day. May his humble spirit guide us through to build a world that is fair and true.
This is called Shiver. It was going to be a song, but it's a poem now. Don't tell me you lived through war if you made it a TV show and watched it while warm. Feel the cold when the drones swarm, witnessing a genocide from a university dorm. The oppression had been televised, make it a two-pronged issue, a media storm. Half these people act like lobotomized, victimized genocide. I'll say that again. Half these people act like lobotomized, victimized, eugenicized attention whores. You don't notice the fascistic rise if it ain't violently enforced. Just wait until they ask what kind of white, don't wait till your turn to join the cause. Their survival is based on silencing cries and finding new people to exploit for more. Money is power, don't make you wise. Made you despise, shows ignorance to lies. Do you feel the back of your neck? Is it enough to make you shiver? Do you have the respect to scream from the sea to the river? What have you got to lose? The arrows from your quiver? There are words you never use and words that never wither. I'm going to repeat the line of lobotomized, victimized, eugenicized attention whores. Because I'll be real, a lot of the Zionists that you hear from sound like they've got no brain whatsoever. And all they want is for you to keep talking to them, wasting your time talking to fascists. Why? I thought it was worth arguing with them, but it turns out all they want to do is chat and chat and chat, and the more people that hear their little lies and their little bits of bullshit, the more people just eat it up. So when you start taking on everything they say and letting them have a moment to speak, instead of just saying, no, get out, you're a loser, you smell, I hate you, don't speak to me because you're a fascist. You're saying lies constantly and you're trying to uphold a genocidal system. It's just, it needs to be over soon, because I'm a little bit done with talking to racists and fascists and Nazis and Zionists. So, free Palestine, and someone take this microphone off me.
It's really important that we make sure that we boycott all the products that are either coming from Israel or are supporting Israel. We can download the boycott app, which will help us when we're going out shopping, and we can make sure that we're not buying anything that supports Israel. And that includes products that we might think, you know, like a Galaxy bar or whatever from Nestle. These people are funding the genocide that we see. They support apartheid. Coca-Cola, McDonald's feeds the IDF soldiers, and whilst the children in Palestine are starving, and then they go off and to kill them, gives them energy to go and do such vile things as they do.
On the 17th of May, the entire Palestine movement and in Britain, across the world, will be mobilising for Nakba 77, the week that is the terrible anniversary of the Nakba 48. And we want to see hundreds of thousands again on the streets of London. We've got a coach going from South Dorset, and I think PSM is in the process of organising a coach here. Let's make sure every seat is filled, and that we can try and get as many more as possible up to London for that demonstration, and send a message to the government across Britain, but also across the world. And let's not forget, they are watching London. We know they are. In Cairo, in Gaza. They are watching across the Middle East. This is where the Balfour Declaration was signed. We have a responsibility on that day of all days. But I think we need to do more than demonstrations. We have to have them, but they need to be a platform on which we build. We need to escalate. On the 15th of May, 2 days before that demonstration, is the day of the anniversary of the Nakba. And it is the National Workplace Day of Action. And some of us are arguing that we need to focus on the question of our government sending arms to Israel that are being used in Gaza. We need some mass demonstrations outside arms plants. And I think there's something else we can do. In every town hall, they are investing in companies complicit in arms supplies to Gaza. I think we should, PSM and PSC in Dorset, should discuss having simultaneous delegations, say at lunchtime, from as many workplaces as we can, to the town halls to demand that they stop investing in companies supplying arms to Gaza and Israel. But beyond that demonstration, because we need the bigger the demonstration, the bigger we'll be able to build here in Bournemouth, in Weymouth, in Dorchester and across the country. Thanks very much.
So just to reiterate, the 17th of May is the National Nakba Demo.